It's a little loud, Erend.
I know. It makes you want to punch something.
Erend? You okay?
Huh? Oh, yeah. I mean, why wouldn't I be?
Because there's two of me now.
There's two of you now. At least you seem to be handling it okay.
I wouldn't say that exactly, but I'm trying. What are you working on with your focus?
I'm still figuring out how to read stuff on this thing. Those two lovebirds over there have been giving me a hand. But to be honest, all the little symbols, they give me a headache. But I'll get up to speed, I promise.
Did you speak with Beta at all?
She didn't really wake up till we brought her here. And when she did, I thought it'd be better if Zoe and Varl took care of her. No use crowding someone when they're in a state.
I have to get going.
Don't...
Aloy.
Hey, thought I'd, check in on how you're doing.
You mean after meeting someone who looks exactly like you, but isn't you, down in the basement? Guess this must be even stranger for you than it is for us, huh?
A little.
Varl said she may be able to help us in our mission, though.
Maybe.
There is something I'd like to discuss. It's about the land gods. If you have time, that is.
You said you wanted to talk about the land gods?
I think there's a way to heal them so that they'll once again provide Plainsong with grain. Gaia gave me a set of instructions. She called it, reboot code. If we deliver it to the land gods, their derangement will end.
That's great.
Maybe. There are thorns on the path. Unless the code is given by Hephaestus, the land gods will reject it. Gaia showed me a way around this. We need components called control cores, from machines made by Hephaestus. Machines similar to the land gods.
You mean Grimhorns? Like the one we fought in the repair bay?
Yes. Gaia helped me locate two of them out west.
So, kill the machines, get the control cores, then use them to adapt the reboot code into something the land gods will obey?
If all goes well. But taking down two Grimhorns won't be easy.
We'll do it together.
Bless you, Aloy. I'll send you the location of the machines.
So, how does a tribe like the Utaru manage to maintain the peace with warriors like the Tenakth?
By holding them off. When our fields bloomed aplenty, the Tenakth looked upon our lands with envy. But Plainsong's dishes provided sanctuary and high ground to keep invaders at bay. In the end, even the Tenakth saw sense in a truce. The Utaru promised to provide the Tenakth with food from our crops every year. In exchange, the Tenakth would relinquish one of their own, a veteran, to train the Utaru in combat. This custom was abandoned a few years after the derangement. But some veterans still remain in the plains.
I believe I've met them already. I've been meaning to ask, what's the deal with you and the chorus? You didn't seem to be on the best of terms.
That's what happens when you're the one Utaru who insists on publicly defying them. Twice. When the Karja invaded the Utaru plains, they did more than just attack our villages. They burned our fields, took our people as slaves, and murdered those who were too weak to make the trip back to Meridian.
To be sacrificed in the Sun Ring.
I was helping the healers back then, as waves of refugees swarmed into Plainsong. The chorus was divided in how to face the invaders. Some saw sense in raising arms. Others believed the dishes would keep us safe, as they had many times before. And while they bickered, I buried the seeds of the fallen.
It couldn't have been easy. Seeing your people suffer while the Karja invaded your lands.
I come from a small village near Plainsong. My grandmother used to say there was no seed that wouldn't grow there. I moved to the dishes when I decided to apprentice as a healer. When the Red Raids began, I thought about going back. But the injured kept pouring into Plainsong, day after day. So I kept putting it off. One day, I woke up to hear a Karja raiding party had ransacked my village during the night. I rushed there with the healers to help the survivors, but there weren't any left. The smell of burning flesh haunts me to this day.
I'm sorry, Zoe.
I made it a point to appear before the chorus as soon as we returned, to demand that we take a stand against the invaders. I was denied. So I left to fight on my own.
You said you set out to fight the Karja alone?
I did. But it turned out I wasn't the only one. News of my disagreement with the chorus spread through the plains. Before I knew it, I had more than a dozen Utaru warriors ready to follow me into battle. We knew we couldn't take on the Karja armies head-on, but we also knew the lay of the land better than they did. We ambushed smaller raiding parties, sabotaged their supply lines, and hit their encampments at night.
Sounds like you were a force to be reckoned with.
Enough that the Tenakth took notice. When the clans began to push the Karja back east, they let us join their ranks. We chased the enemy all the way to Barren Light.
You said you were at Barren Light when the Tenakth defeated the Karja?
Tenakth marshals climbed the cliffs of the Daunt under cover of night, then attacked from the other side. Before we knew it, the gates were open, and the full force of the clans burst through. What happened next was not something I like to remember. When all the dust and blood settled, I smelled it again. The stench of burnt flesh. Our enemies defeated. What was left of my squad returned to the Utaru Plains. I went back to Plainsong. But even as the harvest passed, it didn't feel like I'd truly returned at all.
Is that when you became a grave singer?
I thought soothing the suffering of others would somehow appease my own. Then you came along and gave me a choice. I could either sing at people's graves or fight for a chance to keep them alive.
I'm glad you chose the latter. Did Gaia tell you anything about the Zeniths?
She did, though it wasn't exactly easy to believe. To think that there are places among the stars where life can bloom as it does here, it is humbling, to say the least, and heartbreaking that such life should be bent on destroying ours.
What are you up to?
Gaia was kind enough to put together a list of glyphs used by the Old Ones. She helped me decipher some of the data you've collected, and showed me how to use the focus to help the process. It's not easy, but it's been working so far.
That's good to hear. You've spoken with Kotallo?
A few words. Tenakth don't have much use for us outsiders. You must have made quite the impression for him to offer his fealty.
I see you've settled in.
Gaia did say this place was built for us, so we could regain control of our lands with her terraforming system. Nurture them like the land gods do Plainsong's fields. It does strike me as odd that a place of life should have so much metal.
I need to get going.
May the land bloom in your steps.
Hey, you and Erend okay?
Nothing some rest can't take care of. Are you okay? This beta thing, it's a lot. Even for you.
Just trying to take it one step at a time.
Fair enough. If you need anything, just let me know.
How's everyone dealing with Beta?
I tried explaining what a clone is to Erend. He was totally lost. Then Zoe said something about 2 trees coming from 1 seed. That seemed to help a bit.
You guys reading something over there?
We just finished going through all the logs you collected back in Nora territory, and All Mother Mountain. It's hard to imagine that my ancestors were trapped inside, without the knowledge from Apollo to guide them.
Thanks to Ted Faro.
Yeah. I wonder how it must have felt when they were finally free. The world must have seemed so beautiful.
Not to mention terrifying. They weren't much more than kids.
And they became an entire tribe.
I should get back to the wilds.
I'll keep an eye on Beta. Make sure she's comfortable.
Okay,
How many?
as many as we need.
Such power. Has the world ever seen the like?
Now that you know who the enemy is, do you have any questions?
I'll admit, I find them hard to grasp. From the heavens. And invulnerable.
For now.
I will leave the strategy to you. I trust you will point my blade where it will cut the deepest.
You've had some time with the team now. Any thoughts?
I admit, I was surprised to see Nutaru here. Farmers don't make for effective soldiers.
I'm told she rallied some in her tribe against the Karja, and fought all the way to Barren Light.
Interesting. Perhaps I'm mistaken.
You said the Bulwark was your home a long time ago. That you were part of the Sky Clan.
Yes.
That's all you're gonna tell me?
Fine. As you wish. My parents were killed in a clan skirmish, so I was raised by my squad. As I grew older, I came to be known as an accomplished fighter. Tekote took a special interest in me. I fought by his side against the Karja, and led my squad on a dangerous climb into the Daunt. It was I who opened the gates at Barren Light, from the east side, allowing the Tenakth to raise it.
That must have gotten you some attention.
Indeed. I was welcomed home as a hero, and I was content.
Then why'd you leave?
I became a marshal.
When we were at the Bulwark, the guard said something about the Wings of the Ten. Hikaru also mentioned it at the Cool Route. Dekka, too. What does it mean?
The visions tell us that the Ten flew on great metal machines with wings, and leapt into battle from the sky. For us, to imitate this feat is the ultimate expression of martial prowess, and it is why the challengers leap into the arena during the Cool Route. Many times I imagined it as a child. The feeling of freedom, and the awe it must have inspired.
Why did you leave the Sky Clan to become a marshal?
I was sent to the Cool Route by Tekote. Back then, I would have obeyed his every order. I believed in him, like one would a father. I was too blind to see the fear in his eyes. Fear of a rising young warrior challenging his command of the clan. I returned a hero from the battle at Barren Light. But to him, I was only a threat. Never occurred to him that I had no interest in rising above my station.
What did Chief Hikaru say when you told him he'd be joining me here?
You spilled rebel blood at the Grove and helped reunite the clans. There was little more to be said. He understood.
Well, I'm honored he lent me his best marshal. At least for a little while.
Indeed.
Why did Tekote think you wouldn't be a threat to him if he sent you to the Cool Route?
Tekote knew that if I survived the Cool Route, I'd be forced to forsake the clan to serve the Tenakth as a whole. I'd never be allowed to challenge his command, even if I wanted to. After our victory at Barren Light, Tekote spoke to our people, said it would be selfish to rob Hikaru and the marshals of a warrior like myself. Even though he knew perfectly well I had no intention of ever leaving. It was exile, guised as an honor. One he knew I couldn't refuse. So I became a marshal, and never looked back.
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
I am not. Though it pained me at the time, a marshal is what I was destined to be.
I need to go.
On your way then.